right, guys, so we're live and the recording is on. All right, so April 3rd, 2022, Sunday morning wisdom or peace, love, and soul, however we call it, with Dr. Charlie Cartwright, Alvin Brown, myself, Raymond Janactonier. So we're gonna bring some goodness today, hopefully impact, some people. This is how we do. So what are we talking about today? Exactly, guys. Let me throw the ball at you.
I've got I don't know if Alvin has had a couple things prepared, but I'm good. So I came across a quote last week I really loved. And of course, I expanded on it, right? I really got into it. And it was about choose your heart, right? And how life is hard. Okay. And so if you are going to get in shape, it's hard. If you let your body fall out of shape, it's hard. If you are going to really manage your finances and build a nest egg to leave to posterity, it's hard. If you mismanage your money and lack financial literacy, it's hard, right? And so if you're in a relationship, committed relationship, it's hard. If you're not in any relationship, it's hard. So the whole thing is choose your heart. And I really love that concept. So then I really dove in deep and I came up with an acronym for hard. And so the H stands for healthy or harmful. And the A stands for and, the R stands for really, and the D stands for difficult. So it can be healthy and really difficult or harmful and really difficult. And so think about the example that the world saw here last week. If you lose your temper, that's harmful and really difficult because the ramifications of losing your temper. At the same time, if someone says or does something to you that really elicits a lot of emotion, it's hard to hold your temper, right? It's hard to manage that, but it's healthy and it's really difficult managing your emotions, right? And developing that EQ, that emotional intelligence. So I love this concept because it's going to be hard either way. And so if it's going to be hard either way, then why not make sure that you choose the healthy side versus the harmful side, right? And I really love that. So, and then as we know about mastery, as you master things, you get in flow. It goes from healthy and really difficult, right, to healthy and really delightful, like a run. It's really hard at first. You're trying to run a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. Then all of a sudden one day you leave the gym or you leave your house for a run, and all of a sudden your feet are floating, right? Your feet are floating. And you get that runner's high and you're like, oh, this is it, right? You cross that pinnacle, you cross that threshold. So I really love this concept because it really puts things in perspective. And I think it, running choices through this filter would be beneficial in so many scenarios. So that's my bit now. I'll pass the mic.
You got it, or I take it?
Take it away, my man. Take it away.
Okay, take it away. So hard, healthy, or harmful, and really difficult, right? So I love this concept. I agree 100%. I looked up a quote from John Maxwell that says, life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you, right? So over the past months, weeks, I know, Dr. Charlie, you've been talking about how greatness is our default, right? It's our default setting for all of us. But that's the thing. This is a whole marathon that we're into. And it's true, so by default, we have all this greatness, but then we may sabotage it, which brings pain, which makes things hard, or we may, work with it and allow us, to move up, which is hard also, no matter what. So there will be pain involved, no matter what we decide. And that's really this whole beautiful experience that we're into. So, what choices do we decide to make in the end? One thing that I like to add also is that, yes, greatness is by default. We all have specific, natural, God given skill sets that, come to us. And that if we develop, and if we invest in, I believe we can become really, really great at these things. But at the same time, there are two extremes for all people, right? So, as much as I have certain strengths, I have certain weaknesses, that come with that. And to overcome these weaknesses, it's also a choice. But in order to do that, it also requires a very strong will, a very, very strong will, because the deeper the weaknesses, the deeper the will must be. And if we have to choose our heart, then we need to have a strong will, to walk that walk and stay on that path. Because as we said, it's not about doing something one day and being done with it, right? Because you get right back in it. It's really about, having that will to be consistent and to walk that walk forever, as much as we can, until we basically leave, right? Because this is a thing that really never ends. So I really like this concept, honestly. And that's the thing. A lot of us also, we tend to drift towards what's comfortable, towards what's easy. I mean, if we flip it, and we tend to drift towards what's important, towards what's really has significance. Well, as I speak for me, it prepares me to be okay with having the hard and the pain that comes with it. Because in order to walk, to have a happy marriage, to do successful things, one way or another, I'm gonna hurt, so I gotta decide what is it that I'm willing to hurt for in this life, and what hurt actually really means something in the end. Because I could hurt and be happy, or I could hurt and be unhappy. Which one do I decide? Which one do I really want? So this is me, and I'm passing the mic.
Yeah, great conversation. I'll have to continue this one after this. So choose your heart. And yeah, very good thought and quote. And so I'm gonna say this, something I realize, and when I hear a conversation or a quote, I kind of take it back and work with it for a long time. And then, when the student ready to teach your peers, and I finally get it, when I'm in a situation, I get, oh, I really get that quote now. I really understand it. And something said in the past that to be rich or poor, to make $1 or $1 million, it takes the same energy. And I didn't really understand that. What does it mean to make $1 or to make $1 million? The energy is the same. And so after thinking about it, to choose your heart, the same energy, no decision is a decision. Because if you decide not to do the workout, that is actually a decision. So this idea that I can't make a decision, I'm not going to do something, that is actually a decision, and it's leading to something. Because we are at the end of our life, or in our current today, if someone listening thinks about it, where you are today, exactly today, whether you like it or not, it was a series of decisions that you made that got you here. And if they were thoughtless and your fingers were crossed, you're now in a place in your life where you had your eyes closed and your fingers crossed, and now you're here. If you're intentional, you would have made better decisions in those moments, because you're realizing that the micro decisions are leading to exactly where you are today, to have a drink or not have a drink, to not work out or to work out, to study or to not to study, to write that next chapter or not to write the next chapter. Series of decisions are being made, and those are where you're choosing your hard, or you're choosing your what looks like in the moment instant gratification. I can rest, I can surf the net, I can ding, update my status, check out other people's platforms. Those are all decisions being made. And it's leading to where you are today. One of the things I'm really, and I say this in a lot of podcasts that I do and interviews, is I'm really, really great at running the movie forward. To know that if I say yes to this today, I'm really good at running that movie forward. And going, what can I, as before we got on here, Ray said that when in his neighborhood, people know the ramifications of their actions. And they say they don't say anything, they don't want to back up later. And that's what I find a lot of people don't think about. Do I want to back that action up later? Right? Do I want to get into that relationship now? Feels good. I just want to feel good right now for the long-term payoff. Do I want it after I feel good now? Am I going to feel good more and on and on and on? So when you look at my long-term relationships with people or things, or I'm always thinking long and going long. Will I be able to cash the check that my ass just wrote? You know what I mean? I don't pick fights with anybody that I don't want to continue. I don't get into deals with anybody that I don't want to do. I'm really, really great at thinking, rolling the camera forward, rolling the movie forward instead of stopping in the moment. And then, so choose your hard. I also wrote here, discipline is what it takes to choose the hard that will get you to the long run. As Dr. Charlie said, it's hard to contribute to your 401k today when the vacation is calling you, right? When you're thinking 20 years down the road, I won't even make it. I won't even be here to spend it. So I'm going to spend it now. But what if you're here and you don't have the funds now? As an older person, you're in that position where you aren't valuable as much anymore to your profession. Maybe you're in that profession where computers, for instance, if you're an older person in the computer industry, you're outdated. In the area of wisdom, you're more valuable. So, but discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. So discipline in the moment, it seems heavy, seems hard. But the regret of a disease or a condition that could have been diabetes, for instance, could have been prevented with the decision to avoid the extra intake to work out. But now you're heading to the doctor to get your meds, your metformin. You're heading to potentially look at that foot that's been not too good, your eyesight. Now that's a regret with a little bit of discipline you would have had 20 years ago. So choose your hard, right? And then we go to, I write here, hard early or hard late? Which one do you want? Choose it. You want to do the hard early and it doesn't seem like hard, getting up every day. Out of 168 hours out of a week, you spend 7 of those working on your body, working on your mind. Now you have 161 hours left, but people want a badge of honor if they got to the gym twice this week. I mean, really? So what are you doing? What's so difficult to get it in? So I make sure it's a priority for me because I want the hard now. These calls, They might be hard for a few people to get on, but they're feeding my mind, like my workout that I do right after this. It feeds my mind, then I feed my body because I want the hard now. So the easy, I won't be doing the hard, that, display of what Dr. Charlie touched on, a display of an emotional reaction. These work on my mind creates the stimulus for me to have some resources to pull from when things are tough. So, and then I wrote, final one I write here, final point I write is, we want to build deep, entrenched behaviors and not wide. It's Bruce Lee. He fears the person who does one kick 1,000 times, not the person who does 1,000 kicks once. And for me, that's the hard. The hard is doing the one boring, which is why there's only 1%. You think about, I often think about Usain Bolt or whoever your sprinter is, your sprinter of choice. For 9 seconds or 9 point whatever, they will spend 12 years to run 9.6 whatever seconds. That's hard, repetitive. It looks sexy to an audience, but geez, another hurdle I got to jump over again every day, and another plyometrics I got to do, more therapy, day in, day out. No one sees that. That's a boring stuff no one would even watch. That's watching paint dry. However, gun goes off, you're in history for 9.6 seconds. That's a hard, right? But he gets to live a hero for the rest of his life in some people's eyes. So choose your hard. I love the hard now. I work with too many people for the last 30 years who I've seen the hard come later, and it's hard. It's hard because now you don't have the resources to get through that hard. And I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay it financially. I don't want to pay it physically. I don't want to pay it mentally. So I choose my hard now, and I choose my hard in the things that will roll a movie forward and get me to my end goal. So I pass that back.
Yeah, those are all great thoughts, fellas. I really love that, and I love that hard now versus hard later. I hadn't thought about it in that sense, but that's right on point. It is hard later, right? And much harder. Okay, exponentially harder. We don't choose the hard now, and I've seen those examples in my life, with relationships, with finances, with people's fitness levels, and their health. They chose that easy path, early, and then things got so hard for them later in life that they had financial disaster, health disasters. I mean, some of these people aren't even around anymore because of that lack of choosing the hard when they were here. So yeah, just having that initiative to go in the direction that's going to be difficult, but it holds that long-term reward for us, right? Because we got to play the long game in all of this. We got to play the long, right? That the short-term stuff, it's just not sustainable. We're playing the long game. You got to be patient, right? Because your reward is not up front, right? Your reward is not, plant the seed and then harvest the apple the next day. It doesn't work like that. So, but if you plant that seed and cultivate that seed and work the land and cultivate that tree, then when the apple tree finally does bloom, then your harvest is abundant, right? Your harvest is thousands of folds beyond what you could invested in it. So life is really like that. And I think that, there's so many examples in nature, of this, but again, nature plays the long game, right? And we've got to really look at things that are going to be sustainable for the long run. I mean, you think about fitness, for instance. People take all these enhancing drugs and things, and short term, they look good, but long term, it's destructive. It's going to be devastating. Also, uh, we've got to achieve fitness in a way that's sustainable and that's not gonna destroy our bodies in the process. I've seen people literally wear their bodies out because they went overboard in it. So it's such an art and a science when it comes to life. But I think when we understand principles like this, and this is hard now, hard later. Choose your hard. These are firm principles that they're going to stand the test of time, and in the future, we're going to benefit by choosing our hard wisely, and choosing our hard now, and choosing our hard that's healthy. So with that, I'll pass the mic to Ray.
Yeah, definitely. And in order also to look into the future, right? Because it is a marathon. It is a long process. Well, we talked about being in the now, for sure, but let's say you look into a relationship, for instance, right? And you like this person, you're having fun together, everything's great. But what about if you have children one day? Okay. Do you want that person raising your children? Okay. Does that, if you're close to your family, can this person can coexist, can get along with your family? Do you have different views in certain things that just can't come in the middle, right? So these are things also, as I said, in order to look into the future, we need to also know who we are right now, who do we want to be, but most importantly, who we are not, who do we don't want to be? What do we want for now? What do we want for the future? What do we don't want? What do we want to contribute to? Who do we want to be around us? Like, all these things are questions that if we have clarity on in the present, okay, I believe as we go through our journey, we all evolve. But when we're another, there's this directing line that doesn't change. This is who we are. This is our default, right? And then how we choose to manifest these things just evolves as we go within our journey. So I would just ask that to people. Do you have clarity on the fundamentals of who you are, of what do you want, of who do you want to give value to, who do you want to be around, and most importantly, the opposites of that too? Because when you're clear on who do you don't want to be, what do you don't want for your life, and all of these things, then it's easier for you to make decisions and choose your heart now. Okay, choose your heart now and choose your heart for the future. So I call this anticipating in the end. The more clarity you have, the more you can anticipate, and the more you can visualize the future in great detail, And it allows you to make, let's say, congruent choices for today, like one way or another. I go back to relationships again, but I've seen so many relationships just break up with like great people, but one way or another, you could tell something just wasn't the right fit. So as much as they love going to the club together and having fun and all of that, when it got time to certain issues, it broke up. And these are things as friends we could see years in advance. They just weren't having these conversations. So whatever hard conversation, either within yourself or within the people around you, you're not having, ask yourself, look at these questions deeply and come up with the answer, because it will allow you to anticipate already whether or not this is the direction you want to go into. You don't need to have all the answers, but these are things that do not lie, and these are things that are true. So in the end, I call this following your heart. You follow your heart, but you got to ask the heart the right questions, and then you know where to go from there. And then you can easily, well, it's always hard to choose your heart, right? But that way you can choose the right heart. You can know 100% that like you're doing the right thing. Yeah. So this is me, and I'm passing the mic. So it's really about anticipating as much as possible. But to anticipate, you have to know certain fundamental things about yourself first.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So I want to switch gears a little bit, guys. We talk about reading and the importance of it, and I just can't. I don't think we can ever overemphasize the importance of reading. So someone that's watching this is on the fence, yeah, and that's something I need to do. No, it's a practice to begin immediately, not tomorrow, not on Monday, not next week, not next month, not next year, not next quarter, now. Okay, it's that important. And because that knowledge, Warren Buffett said, knowledge is like compound interest, right? And the more you learn, the more you can learn, and the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And it's a competitive advantage when it comes to personal and professional things, whether it's relationships, whether it's finance, whether it's business, fitness levels. We need to really expand our mind. And again, that's the hard now, the setting up for the easy later, when we are keeping our mind active and constantly growing new brain cells by expanding our learning, by the learning process. Then we're setting ourselves up for better quality of life as we get older. Okay, so it's a big deal. So here's my thing, guys, is that I've upped my game I was a book a week guy, and I'm upping my game to 2 books a week. And so that's fantastic, but I don't want to just read anything. I want to read books that are powerful, that are meaningful, that are impactful. So I need my list. I need my list added to, because I'm crunching these books out, and I need some more. I'm getting ready to travel this week, and gonna have a lot of windshield time. I need to have those audio books popping. So I need some book recommendations. I need some your favorite books of all time. I mean, I want heavy hitters, man. Things that are gonna be powerful. So with that, I'll pass the mic. Got my pen.
All right.
Ready.
Oh, you want it now? I'm gonna be sending that to you.
I'll take the list later too.
But all right. Well, I got first I want to finish up with a couple things with Ray. Ray was talking about expectations, I think. And I was just saying about expectations. Moving towards your goal takes patience. But patience is what? Hard. Patience is very hard for a lot of us, but patience is the key. So you can expect something, but you have to have patience. Because many times, it doesn't come when you want it, because you need some seasoning. You may not be ready for it. So it comes when it's ready. When you are prepared fully, deeply, mentally, emotionally, it will appear, and you can't rush it. And the last thing I was saying was hard, and choosing your hard, the discipline you need to do that, the foresight it takes, hacking into the normal human nervous system, because the normal human lower brain appeals to, it wants one, to get out of pain and move towards pleasure, and it wants to survive. So if quitting smoking, if delaying gratification signals to the brain death, pain, I'm not doing it. I am going to move towards something that'll give me pleasure, survival. So doing the hard later is actually a hack, is going against the norm. The cake is sitting in front of you, the couch, the temptation of some kind, and it's now. The feelings are now. The dopamine needs to be fed now. The serotonin needs to be, the adrenaline, the acetylcholine, everything's firing now. You need some oxytocin, some touch now. Those are not later delayed things, they're now. So doing the hard later is not it's a hack. It's a conditioning, disciplining yourself, because, and sooner or later it gets easier, but be kind to yourself. Remember, it's not in our nature to do that. So that's what I want to say about that. And then Ray, I saw Ray grabbed a couple of books, so I'm going to go to Ray because I've got a long list of Dr. Charlie Cartwright.
Good. I got a long list too, but I'll just start with 2 books. All right, for you. This is the first one I'll show you. Who are you? What do you want?
I love it.
Who are you? What do you want? By Mick Ukjela. I'll write it down in the comments after. So simple questions, but not so simple, to really dive into the essence in the end of building that true clarity, so that you can anticipate and direct really your decisions in whatever. And here's another one. I really like this book. I don't know if you read it yet. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
No.
By Robin Sharma. This is different than what I usually read, because it's really a story. Okay, it's a story of this person who had a lot of money, who were in corporate, but just wasn't happy, and just goes on this journey to fulfill his full potential in every way possible. So it's a really good story about peeling back certain layers to find out what's really important in order to really, really live in our area of greatness and get real success and happiness and health and all of that stuff. So I got a bunch of them, but I'll just start with these 2 for you. I think, yeah, they're great books to read for sure. This book is actually one of the books that got me interested in reading. I wasn't necessarily reading as much before. Once I read that one, I just started buying books and reading.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yes, the Monk Who Sold Ferrari is the one that got me kind of back on track as well. It's Robin Sharma is the man. So yeah, that one I have. I don't have your first one there, Ray. However, let me see. Ready for the fire hose? Did I give you Effortless already? Effortless by Greg McKeown. Mr. Tony Robbins got a new one out called Life Force. talking about health, all about health and longevity. Brought in experts and collaborate them on this book, and it's all about living life at the health wise. Then I'm got another one from Tony. I'm touching on again, rereading it because when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Money Master, Master the Game, or Money Master the Game. And then there is Peak Performance by Brad Stuberg. I like that one a lot, and Steve Magnus. Peak Mind by Armishi P. So Peak Mind. Robert Greene, do you read any of his stuff?
No, I haven't.
Okay, he's got the 48 Laws of Power. He's always good. His stuff, I like it. Mastery, all by Robert Greene. Depending on which year you want to get into, I have some nutrition stuff that are really good. The Obesity Code is a really great book. Cancer Code and Obesity Code, those are really good books. The Inflammation Spectrum, those are good. Let me see. Leader Shift by John C. Maxwell. That's a good one. The Everyday Hero Manifesto by Robin Sharma. And I go back to the Wallace D. Wattles trilogy. So that's a trio of books that are very powerful. Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Classic. I love that one.
Right, that classic.
Was powerful.
Yeah. I didn't read this one yet. I've got it in my library though. The Joy of Genius by Gay Hendricks. All right. And Maxwell Leadership. Oh no, that's his podcast. Giving you a different look at that. Those are good for now. Born to Win by Zig Ziglar and Tom Ziglar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's yeah, I've got over 300 here. So
who is Tom Ziglar? Is he
his son?
Oh, his son.
Yeah,
okay.
His son. Yeah.
Yeah, Zig Ziglar. That was the first time I heard one of his tapes back in the day. That was a life changing for me.
Oh yeah.
I actually got to go to I got to hear him live once.
Wow.
So that was cool. Just
that was special.
Look out there, and of course, not fully understanding the magnitude of that until years later. That hey, I got to not only did I hear his tape, I got to see him live.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty amazing.
That Bob Proctor. Yeah.
Thank you for that, fellas.
Yes, sir. There's enough there. Like I said, I don't know which way you want to go with them, but I got a ton different from NLP to Never Split the Difference. Rewire Your Anxious Brain. Yeah. The Leading.
Yeah, I've really been amazed at how I can read a book and then that book that I've not read before will connect dots that are kind of been hanging out there in some other books. Like it'll make all of that previous information, it'll increase the congruence of all of it. And so it's kind of an amazing effect. I'm sure there's some type of neurological term, psychological term for that. But you know, when you read, there may be, I don't know, let's just say 100 concepts in a book, and you you walk away with 30 of those concepts, those lessons, and then you reread the book and bam, you have 20 more and there's 50. You feel really good about it. But then you read an unrelated book and all of a sudden it connects another 20 of those dots. Now you got 70% of that, the concepts in that book. So I love learning because not only are you getting the new information from this current book, but it's giving clarity or bringing your attention to concepts that were presented before, but maybe you just didn't fully catch, right, or comprehend. So it's pretty exciting, man, and it's just it's pretty exciting, fellas, because it's the easiest way to differentiate yourself in the marketplace is to be more knowledgeable, and then also not just the knowledge, but learn how to deploy that knowledge strategically for your benefit. And the results are pretty significant, pretty significant.
Is that universal library, right? The more you read, the more you get exposed to great minds, the more you see how things are connected and how one way or another they don't know each other, but it's like they know each other. They're basically talking about some of the same things, which is complementing each other, and that's the cool part about it. When I found reading and just absorbing information is that you start to see things that people don't see, but you're looking at exactly the same thing, but you're seeing something they don't see. Or you're listening to a song and you understand how maybe a lot deeper that song is than it may seem. And just, yeah, everything is connected one way or another. There's this knowledge that's universal, and that's right in front of us. And that's the cool thing about books, is that I don't know Robert Lee Lorber, but I get to sit down with this person, and just learn to his thoughts. It's like I was having a conversation.
That's 100%. They come to life. They come to life in those pages.
Yeah.
And then with your unique experience that you've had in life and your unique creativity, and you're able to take that and come up with some creative concepts based on everything that you've read. It's amazing. So that's just so exciting. It's so exciting.
And this is another reason why I love consistency, because the more you're reading, if you read once and don't read again for years, you don't get a chance to make those connections as you talked about. And studying, even learning new words, sometimes somebody puts in a word in there that let me go quickly. I don't know that word. Oh, that's a great way to say this. Instead of, when I've been thinking about this a while, when I think about education and crime, the relationship between the two, when I can't express myself, articulate my words and share them, my next option is to clock you, is to punch you. I'm frustrated, so I'm gonna take it out on you. The other way I want to release that on the world is to be a menace to society, instead of being a menace with my pen or my computer or my whatever, right? Articulate it better, because the true sign of winning is being able to non-violently articulate yourself enough to get out of it, like out of the situation. But that's hard. Punching somebody is easy, right? Going up and clocking them because you're frustrated, or you could find the words to manipulate and get yourself out of it, or find an amicable, but it's a lot easier. That's why, someone who's uneducated will lead back to, let me get into it with you, because I don't have the way of, it's frustrating not to be able to express and share my ideas with you effectively. So let's get it on. Yeah.
This one here, she really gives language to emotion. And so I've read this and I'm on my second time back through it because it's really deep. So I really highly recommend this. This will boost you to the next level when it comes to your emotional intelligence. And just a ton of research. I have the hardback here that's got a lot of illustrations and things in it. So I'm really going to carve this up from a study standpoint. You know, it's going to get highlighted and dog-eared and all those things. But went through the audiobook first, and I'm going through the audiobook again. And I recommend the audiobook because there's some content in it that's not in the book, which tends to happen with audiobooks that come out after the fact, after the hardback. You always get some additional content. But I really, really love this book. I think this is her best work. This book, which is saying something. So I highly recommend this part of the library. Like, you got your dictionary there, or at least I do. I have a dictionary stuff. You know, we have a dictionary there. You know, get your Bible there. You know, got your Think and Grow Rich over there. You know, this got to be like essential on your bookshelf. This one. So
That says something because her work is already amazing. Everything she touches, so that says something.
this is
Uh, I'm
best
curious to know what's your reading routine like?
mornings when I get most of my reading done in my preparation. So when I'm shaving, showering, all of that, you know, that's typically 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm 45 minutes to an hour first thing in the morning. Then when I work out, sometimes I want music, but then other times I will, you know, get another 30 minutes of reading in with audiobooks, working out, or cardio, walking, ride a bike, something like that. So, so anyway, at minimum, I'm getting, you know, 45 minutes to an hour a day minimum. But the morning routine is so helpful because it doesn't disrupt the rest of my day at all. So I can get it in there. And then I came up with a hack. When I'm listening to audiobook, when they would come up with something that was really huge, I would pause it until I had time to like write it down or get to my computer. Well, now I take a picture of I take a screenshot on my phone, so I know the exact chapter and minute where that concept is. And so then when I can go back, it's easy to go back and retrace. So that was something I just came up with recently, like, because that was a problem with audiobooks. You know, you can't put a bookmark in that, right? You know, or now I'll just take a screenshot of it, and then at the end of the chapter, you have 3 or 4 screenshots. You want to go back and re-listen to a very deep concept. So,
Okay, cool.
Dr. Charlie,
hey,
you can thank me now or thank me later. Which one? Because
I'll take mine now.
all right. You want to do the hard now? Okay.
Yeah, I'll take mine now.
All right. Well, Audible. Do you listen to Audible?
This is all mine's on Apple Books, actually.
Okay. Well, Audible has a long time ago bookmark. If I hear a part that I want, I stop. I go at the bottom. You won't be able to see it, but it has chapters, sleep, clip. You can take a clip, and when you take a clip of that part, you also make a note. Hey, this is a great part for this speech. This is you kind of make a note,
wow.
and then you save. So then
Wow.
you go, at a later date, you go back into Audible, and you go and look at all your clips, and go, oh, there's the one from that I want to put in that speech, and it plays that part of the audio back, and you now have it.
Looks like I'll be downloading the Audible app.
Boom. You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're welcome,
I
brother.
appreciate it.
Yeah, that way it's not stored in the photos. You have to go and find the photo, or have the thought about what you were thinking of, why you thought of that. That would be a great part to connect to this part of your speech.
Yeah.
It's all written in there. Yeah. So
I love it. Thank you for that.
yes, sir.
That's awesome, man.
All right. So I think this is it for today. Great talk. Choose your heart. I'll definitely think about that this week. And yeah, I guess my word for the week, as I think about everything that we talked about, I'll say anticipation. Yeah, to anticipate.
Mine, I'm gonna take that, Dr. Charlie. Mine is discipline.
Mm,
Discipline. Discipline now or later? Which one do you want? The discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna, I foreshadowed this the whole conversation today. I'm going with commitment.
Okay.
I'm just going with commitment, man. That's my mantra. And that definition of commitment is not an ingredient. It's not an ingredient in the recipe of success, but the flame beneath the pot.
Yes, sir. Amen.
I just love that quote, brother.
yeah.
Amen.
But I really, these conversations are very, very valuable. So I really appreciate both of you having a commitment to be on here and contribute. And, this is a major part of my personal and professional growth through Sunday morning, because I know my competitors aren't doing it.
Mm,
Exactly.
They're
Amen.
not doing it.
They don't have the discipline.
They don't have the connections.
That's
There
it.
you go.
That's it. That's it.
there you
Yeah.
go.
So, and you'll be
There you
hearing
go.
this on my podcast this week. Mhm.
Awesome.
And thanks for the shout out on your last podcast, Alvin,
Amen.
and great stuff. I listened
Amen.
to it, all of it, and keep up the great content coming. And
Yeah.
same thing for you, Dr. Charlie Dashcam Wisdom. I see you on LinkedIn out there doing your thing, so that's good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Amen.
All right,
Amen.
guys. All right,
All right, my fellas. Peace, love.
and soul.
Oh.
So, all right.
Have a great
Yeah.
day, guys.
Have a
You too.
amazing